One of the long-term consequences of the collapse of the Ottoman Empire was the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that soon came to follow. As a result of being defeated in World War One, the Ottoman Empire had lost control of the area known as the British Mandate of Palestine. Looking at both perspectives, from the Israeli point and from the Palestinian point, we'll try to understand how these nations are still in conflict to this very day, and how they trace their origins all the way back to the Ottoman Empire. 10 letters between Sharif Hussein bin Ali of Mecca and Sir Henry Macohen, Britain's High Commissioner in Egypt, is the first promise of land the British make in 1915 to gain support during World War One. In exchange, Hussein would revolt against the Ottomans. Today's King Abdullah of Jordan is one of the great grandsons of Hussein. On 1917 November, the British government declared the Balfour Declaration, signed by former Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour. It was drafted in part by former US President Wilson. It stated support for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. Rothschild, to whom the letter was addressed, was the leading British Zionist at the time. The statement was motivated by sympathy for the Zionist cause and by the British desire to rally Jews to the side of the Allies. The spirit of the time emphasized the self-determination of small nations. The British thought that by supporting the Zionism, they'd be looking after their own interests. They were looking to secure lasting British influence of the region east of the Suez Canal. As a result of World War One, in 1918, Britain wins control over the area of Palestine from the Ottoman Empire, and then later becomes known as the British Mandate of Palestine. It is a mandate authorizing the British to govern over conquered territory. From 1918 till 1948, the British government is responsible and governs over the Jews and Arabs, both living inside this territory. In 1921, Britain gives the area east of the Jordan River to Emir Abdullah to form the Hashemite Kingdom of Transjordan. This area is known to the country of Jordan. The first major intercommunal violence, though, erupts in the Mandate period, along the Jaffa-Tel Aviv border in May, leaving scores of Jews and Arabs dead. The General Assembly of the United Nations recommended the partition of British Mandate Palestine into two separate states on November 1947. The proposal was accepted by the Israelis for tactical and strategic reasons. The Palestinians, however, considered the proposal unrepresentative of the demographics at the time between the Jews and the Arabs living in Palestine, and so rejected it. On May 14, 1948, Israel gains its independence and becomes an official country. To the Israelis, this is known as Melchemit Ha-Hamsatzut, or the War of Independence. On June 5, 1967, Six-Day War started. Israel conducted a preemptive attack against Egypt and gained control over territory formerly controlled by Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. Israel gained control over the Sinai Peninsula and the Gaza Strip from Egypt, the Golan Heights from Syria, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem from Jordan. Israel begins establishing settlements in all these areas, which right-wing Israelis refer to by the biblical names Judea and Samaria. The Six-Day War becomes known to the Palestinians as Al-Negza, or the setback. To the Palestinians, Israel seizes Egypt, Syrian, and Jordan territory. Israel begins establishing settlements in the West Bank, Gaza, and the Sinai Peninsula.